Alrighty. TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. It's the beginning of the week. We are starting off kind of firm on the equity market. Everything looks kind of steady. Nothing major. Dow's up a couple hundred points, which is the norm as far as I can tell. And we see the interest rate markets kind of stalling along. We see the currency pairs firming up pretty well. I see. Let's take a look at it really quick here. There's the. We started off with the dollar index there. See, the dollar index is trying to lift, but our weekly, you can see here, went into a weekly sell right there. So, and you can see it's curving right here. We're starting to get that curve in there on the daily again. So there's some pressure on the dollar index. Probably after traveling in these all-time high areas. Daniel, like one the Florida's Brazil. Hey, we do have the Brazil index. We can show you that. Let's show you the Brazil index since you are from Brazil, and we can talk about something there. Doc's always looking for something to talk about. Doc just kind of runs through everything and just as a mechanical type thing. But there it is right there. It's been interesting. It's been in a weekly buy for a couple of weeks. Had a nice run for a long while. Back here in December, it went into a buy. Went from the low 26s up to the high 30, almost the high 39s, almost 40. So it was an interesting run. Let me think. When it comes to the dollar today, it seems like it's holding on very firm. Hey, Janos, how you doing? So you can see there on J4X, the dollar index is kind of doing fine. Nothing major. But like I said, you can see it did go into the weekly sell right... Where is it at? Right there. You see that? It slid into the weekly sell, the dollar index. And it's trying to get into a daily sell as we speak right now. It's just kind of showing a little minus at the moment. Pressure starting to build on the daily. So... all is well. Now the stock indices and the currencies. When we look at some of the individual currencies, you can see right here, like it's not right there, like right here, like the euro or the Swiss. See what the Swiss is doing. I saw the Swiss acting pretty firm. Right there. There it is. You see, Swiss had been up on Monday. I guess it was Friday, and it was flirting with a daily sell at one point this morning. I see it right there now. It's just minus by a very, very, very small amount. 0.00008. 4 zeros out. Wow. And it went into the weekly sell last week right there. So maybe we're back on track. And after that wild and woolly inflation, we don't know what we're doing type of market we've had for, weeks upon weeks, and where everything stepped out of their ranges, it seems like they're trying to fight their way back into their ranges. And that seems to be the way we're seeing it play out at the moment. For the stock indices and overall markets, when it comes to the equity markets, bonds are kind of quiet in weekly buys and daily sells, which is interesting. Let's take a look at that real quick. Here's the U.S. 30-year bond. So it's in a weekly buy since we started. Also, we started the September contract right there. That's the front month now. So it went back into a buy there, and it's been staying in a buy now. We've had this weakness since we went into the sell right there. It's kind of been down, nothing major. Now that Mr. Powell's kind of insinuated there's a good chance that there's a pause in September. So then we're looking at 1 3/4 interest rate. 47. Can you look at the Nikkei? Sure. Nikkei. Banzai. There it is right there. There's the June contract. Ooh, what a nice pop they had there yesterday, huh? Or today, I guess you could call it now. It's been in a daily buy since right here. And let's see, we can put the line on there. And it has been in a weekly buy since back here. See how it went through the green line, went up through both manifolds. This is a 1 standard deviation manifold and a 2 standard deviation manifold. That's what gas is versus gas line. And showing lots of strength, and it's not rolling over at the moment. Just hanging around up in there. So they are buying that the Nikkei. And it's been a daily buy for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days now. It's been holding up. Our stock indices are like that. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Right there. Went into the weekly buy last week. Been in a daily buy just like the Nikkei back here. And it hasn't done too much this week. Maybe this is the week it pops. You know, they need a little blow off top possibly. Something like that. So yeah, the Nikkei acting pretty well. It had that interesting. Let's go back to the Nikkei. It did have an interesting period a few months back. Oh, nope, done that wrong. Let's do that one more time. There we are. And went in for the weekly buy right in here for this rampage. That was interesting. From the 25,000 area up to the 28,000 area. Bitcoin's also moving into the buy, I've noticed too. No problem at all. So it's what do we got? We got yeah. Let me just go take a look at Bitcoin real quick. Now that we mention it, you know, it's so hard to park Bitcoin, and you know, like where does Bitcoin belong in a conversation? Does it belong talking about currencies? Does it belong talking about indices? You know, does it belong talking about metals? You know, it's always an interesting thing. Where do you put Bitcoin? To me, my experience, I think Bitcoin kind of falls into the line of where gold trades or the stock indices trade. It seems that, you're welcome, 47. Hope I answered it all. So I always kind of look at it that, and now when I look at stock indices or I look at metals or someone gets into the metals complex, I automatically kind of think in my head, okay, I wonder what the Bitcoin's doing there. You see Bitcoin's been in that sell since the 40 some odd thousand area up in here, and it fell all the way down to 25,000. It's trying to lift back up again, and we're doing some good work there. You can see that when it comes to price action. Really would like to see the cryptos mature even more into their own. It's so hard to say how this all works out in the end. I am a very pro crypto person. I think that as long as there is quantitative easing, there should be cryptos. There's no doubt about it. And I imagine when you have responsible, which we don't at the moment, responsible governments across the planet, financially that is, what the answer really comes down to is that markets put a lot of doubt. The governments put a lot of doubt in the price discovery, and cryptos are that little safety valve where you know that if you own a little crypto, you know that possibly the market may just kind of, if things got really weird. It's awful hard to believe cryptos exist and central banks don't. You know what I mean? Because if there's no central banks, not many countries are willing to give up the sovereignty of printing their own currency. So there's a lot of conversation and discussion that could go on that subject. All right, back to the currencies itself. So there you can see the Swiss is doing what it's trying to do, and that is make a little bounce up. Now we went into that weekly sell. Let's look at it over on J4X. Right there we are. So they're kind of Let's see if we can scrunch this up. You'll be able to see the bottom end of the range. Look at the range. The bottom end of the range is in the 93s. This thing went to 100 or 1 full point. So talk about moving it out of its range. Talking about making the market nervous in general, it really is a very tough situation, with the inflation, the sloppy government actions. What else can we say about any of this stuff? The leadership in the executive branch here in the United States is very confusing. I mean, he was at Annapolis at a graduation on Saturday, I think it was, and he didn't make any sense whatsoever. He was saying all kinds of crazy lies and stuff. It was very, very strange. So, no wonder cryptos and gold have some value at times. Oh, I saw somebody recommend platinum on the financial markets on Friday. I thought that was pretty cool. It's like, where you been? S&P 500. Let's check it out. 2,000. Is that like 2,000 mules? That's cool. S&P 500. There it is right there. Went into the weekly buy last week. Been in that daily buy since back here too, just like the Nikkei, And it hasn't really, it's plateaued in here. It's been doing this plateauing thing. I kind of think it wants to go after these highs right there, which is the basically 4,300. So there's probably a good 150 points, hiding out there somewhere that'll try to get going, or it'll go up like 130 some odd points and maybe then top out. 2,000 ounces. I like that. That's so cool. Metho, 2,000 ounces. Oh, man, cool. As an old chemistry fan. So the S&P is looking very firm. It's steady. I do still think this is a dead cat bounce. It's not something you want to buy into. I think they're going to find a way to make new lows maybe over the next, couple of weeks or months, something like that. I really do. I don't see anything saying that there is one thing out there that sits in the back of my head and makes me think, you got to be careful about not jumping in on this particular rally, and that is this election looks incredibly different than any election we've had in this country in over 150 years, since the Civil War, 1861. So 1861, that's 40 years basically, and 21 years, 62 years, 162 years ago. We're seeing things that we've not seen in political process for like 160 years. So, you can't, as someone that's involved in the market, you can't just ignore it. And it sits in the back of my little mind, in the back corner, like behind one of the ears. I can hear it chirping away saying, tsunami, tsunami's going to explode. So I don't know. We'll see. And usually markets like to anticipate. So they kind of like buy the rumor and then they sell the news. So that's what kind of flirts in my little mind every day. I keep on thinking, wow. So I'm not really... at the same time, I just don't know. In other words, I say that it could correct. I would think it's going to correct, make new lows again. But maybe it doesn't. It turns into a flag. We're in June, so you got all the month of June and July and August and September. Okay, so there's 4 months, and then October, that's 5 months, and then the election occurs like in the first couple days of November. So could we have a 5-month flag? It's possible. It really is. It's a possibility that the markets don't. In other words, they just kind of go sideways, and they don't go take out the lows, they don't take out the highs, and they go kind of cruise down the middle. That would not surprise me any, just because of the things we're hearing. So, yes, that's the S&P 500. All right, now, let's see, where was I? Oh, yes, let's go over to the stock. We'll go back to the currencies again. So let's take a look at the euro and see what the euro looks like. And there's the euro right there. It closed in a weekly buy last week. Let's remove that. That hadn't been in a weekly buy for 12 or 13 or 14 weeks now. It's been a while. Let's scrunch that up, and you'll be able to see what we see. Can you see what I see? A currency up in the 115s. They fell all the way down to 103.50. You know, from the 115s through that weekly sell signal. And now we flipped. Can we take out that high? Can we take out that high? You know, at least get up to the 112s. I don't know. We'll see. We'll follow the numbers and watch it play. Now let's take a look at it over on J4X. Right there. There we go. And that's what you see right there. And that is that the product is just, you know, just kind of, I don't know, hanging out, soft and steady. It's trying to get back to just the bottom end of the range. I think we used that as a title a couple of days ago, like that they're trying to get back, you know, move back to the normal ranges again. I really am not confident that any remedies. Oh, good, Metho 2000. It's like a race car. The Metho 2000. Metho 2000 ounces. I'm not really sure if we're going to see any of the action. I kind of think this whole market is so fed up with the situation in general of governing the way they've been governing here in the States and so forth. I really think that the world market is going to find a way to take a time out. I know it's 5 months, but somehow or another, I just don't see the conviction. I don't see the hunger. You know, I mean, money managers are going to have to buy because that's what they get paid to do. They don't get paid to sell. They get paid to buy. So that's what they're going to do. All right, from there, we'll drift over to the cable, and that, too, is flirting with a weekly buy. Very quickly, right on a Monday morning, and we're through the daily, too, at the same time. So they are selling down the dollar, moving everything back into the normal range of the last few years. And that's what it feels like. And I don't, you know, I try to just read the quants and see, and then I try to think what the story could be. I don't try to make up these stories. I just kind of try to think, you know, when as if when I'm on the floor or in a hedge fund, you know, moving money. You know, what would I be thinking now, the way we thought back then? And that is, markets may just find a way, you know, sell in May and wait for October. I mean, you know, it's a possibility. We haven't had a quiet summer since quantitative easing. There was times before quantitative easing in 2008, our summers were quiet. You know, you would sell call spreads. You would do these binaries. You would sell call spreads and put spreads, and then you know, look at them like once every week, a day, or maybe twice a day. You'd look at them and you wouldn't even pay attention. But in ever since 2008, that we've lost our quiet summers, which is really disappointing. So let's see. From there, let's go over and see the Turkish Lira. Let's cross our fingers and hope that Mr. Erdogan, President and former Prime Minister, is not freaking the currency out again. Oh dear. Looking firmer. Higher, higher. He doesn't know how to let go. Maybe that must have been an intervention right there. Did they try to intervene on Friday? And look at that. You know, went down and hit the bottom end of the range and bounced right back up again. Yeah, that's a real disappointment. We thought they had the recipe. I really did. I was saying it over and over and over again. This is what South America should do. This is brilliant, And I don't know what he's doing right now, but he has scared the investors, that's for sure. And I did see, I think it was their PPI, Producer Price Index, went up 130 some odd percent last Friday. I saw that. That could be part of it. Matter of fact, the money is concerned that inflation. But I don't understand how you're going to get paid, be able to exercise your puts if you don't own the currency. So that's what that's all about to begin with. That's what we thought was the brilliant part. They're basically offering free puts for anybody that buys, or I guess there's some type of regulation. We haven't heard if the puts have not been given. Maybe people started trying to cash out and they didn't give them the puts. Maybe that's possible. Anything's possible. The media doesn't really cover anything in particular. They just kind of like to hide everything that's going on. All right. From there, we switch over to... Oh, let's take a look at the dollar. See if it's up to 117 yet of the Turkish Lira. Remember, it was 118. It was 18 that triggered it. So Friday's high was 1673. So 18 triggered it. The way it's moving now, and the way it has been in that buy since all the way back in February. Wow, we went into the weekly buy in February at what is that? In the 13s, and here we are trading in the 16s. Big numbers. Let's see. Yana says, "Can you look at Amazon?" Yes, it splits today. I don't know what. That's a good question. How that's going to play out on the chart. I did see. Let's take a look at that. Where is it at? Let's see if I have it in here. Okay, let's see what the Amazon looks like. There we are. How does a stock split impact your system? It doesn't. It doesn't bother it at all. I mean, maybe the data, but overall it follows it pretty closely. They haven't split it yet, so it hasn't started trading split. I understand they're prepared. It closed in a weekly buy right there on Friday. And it's been in a daily buy since right here. There it is right there. Went into the daily buy there. And went into the weekly buy right here. It was an interesting, move. We went into, let's see if we can do this like that. We went into the weekly sell up in the 3,000 area in here. And we went into the daily sell. So that was a real winner chicken dinner. And then, there was a buyer, so that's not a buy because it's a red and a green. It still stayed in the sell all the way down to the 2,000. So it caught the 30% drop. And now you can see we're really flirting. There it is right there. That's where it went into the buy last week. That moves over to there. There we go. So it went into the buy right there, which says that pretty much there could be some good buying this week. I would imagine because of the cut in it, it would make, it's going to open up a lot more opportunity. I mean, the stock is trading at, what's that, 20... Where's the stock at? Stock's trading at... Yeah, I'm seeing... Okay, yeah, I'm getting a bid and offer right now. 124.72 bid at 124.75 offer. So it's going to be trading at almost $125 a share from... the thousands, 20 times split. Let's see. Implied market open at 24.65. Oh, okay. You're seeing it too. Previous close, yeah. Since the split is 120, it should be about 122. Yeah, they're picking it up, aren't they? They're buying it some. That would make sense. It is surging already pre-market. Yeah, I would expect that. Let's see what it looks like on J4X. Amazon. A. Oop, two A's, not two A's. A. M. Z. M. Amazon. What's the symbol on that? Amazon. Giannis. See if I can find it. Maybe I have to. Do I have to pick a currency too? I probably do, don't I? Let's see. Amazon. There's the A's. And there's Anheuser-Busch. Let's see if I can find the AMs. Here we go. We're getting the AM area now. Yeah. Oh, okay. I see. Amazon. Z. M. Amazon. Like that? AMZN? Ah, okay. All right. Well, and I'm sure it's functioning pretty well with our math. But that's a very curious thing. You know, we've never really looked at the stocks with our Manhattan indicator system that we set up for Dukascopy. So that would be that'd be very interesting. I mean, we've seen stock indices with it. You know, I'm sure it's going to work pretty well with anything that combination does. So, yeah, I'm not. I think that. Oh, there you go. I'm starting to get a quote now. There you go. See that? Down in the 124s there too. So the math will adjust as it slowly collects up. It's a it works really well with currencies. I mean, like here, I'll show you Apple. There's Apple Computer. I'm not. It works very well with stocks. I mean, so you can see like here, Apple went into a daily buy right there. Everybody seemed to start buying them at the end of May. Notice that the Nikkei, the indexes, they're all been in daily buys since. Yeah, here I'll go back to it now. There it is, right there. Yeah, it went into the daily buy Friday. And it's doing that same thing. Lots of buying strength. They all have that same pattern. That's why I kind of think of it as a dead cat bounce. But at the same time, I'm not too convinced that they're going to sell it down. Now, I understand some money managers are trying to liquidate, tech stocks. Things that are, that they nibbled on when they sold them down. And they're liquidating, not liquidating the whole position. They're just trying to lighten up on the position. So that type of responsibility says to me usually is the markets are wrong. So in other words, if they think that this, they're going to make a new low again, as much as my trading mind says it should. Musk sent a letter to Twitter reiterating requests for certain data to facilitate evaluation of fake accounts. Oh, he's really doing it, isn't he? He's messing with them hard. Oh yeah, he's messing with them real hard. But yeah, I just don't have a confidence that they're going to sell them down to new lows. If this was late July, I'd be saying this market is going to go to sleep. For the next 2.5 months. For August and September and October, for the next 3 months, it's going to go to sleep. We're 5 months out. This society here has had it with this administration on so many levels that it wouldn't, if money managers weren't paid to buy, the market would be really dead. And so I'm convinced that it's just going to hang. All right, yeah. So there's the S&P 500. And it did make it into the buy. What is it? The Dow Jones Industrial Average is on its second week, which is kind of interesting. That caught my eye. Let me open that workspace. There's the VIX. That's another thing too. Look at the VIX, the way the VIX has acted. It's really fallen into this range. It went into a weekly sell a couple of weeks ago, and it don't care. They are selling the vol down. And we went into the weekly buy right there on the June contract. So we've been in a weekly buy now for 2 full weeks. This is a third week. And we're doing a triangle there. I just don't have any confidence that they can sell this market down, and I don't have any confidence that they're going to step up and buy much of it. Just the money managers nibbling away, doing their balancing their portfolios. Nothing more than that, And I think that's the selling we'll probably see too. Most people don't realize a fund, when they run their portfolio, what happens is they like to divide all the money up equally. So in other words, if they're trading 25 or 30 stocks or 35 stocks, then what they do is they have 2.5% of each one of those stocks. And then when the thing goes too far on the upside, they sell some of that stock down to be back to 2% or 2.5%. And so imagine that you have a stock, and let's say it's any stock, Apple, and the stock has fallen like it did from the 160s or 70s, I guess the 170s, down to 180s, down to the 140s or 135. So that means that now your portfolio doesn't have 2% of that stock anymore because the asset has diminished. It's gone down in value. And so then what happens is that money managers will come in and buy and get their position back up to normal, which then when the product goes up, they sell the stock out, but they still carry that 2% position. So they try to keep the portfolios always balanced to the percentage of the position they want. And it's usually equal with all the others. So you get that buying and selling going on, but it's not like rampage, I got to get in, the world's going to heaven and I got to be there long. It's not like, just blind faith type of thing. And so right now, if we were in late August, I'd be totally convinced this market's going nowhere. Now we're in June though, and I don't have any confidence that there's any real action there. No one has any real conviction to step up. I hear some money managers talking about liquidating what they've already bought, but that doesn't mean they're going zero. They're just moving their portfolio back down to neutral, or not neutral, but neutral volume. So in other words, they're still long. The only difference is that they want to stay with their 2% portfolio. And that's what they do, and that's how that works. So there's a lot of clarity on why prices go up and down, besides buyers and sellers. All right, let's go back to Canada. See what Canada's up to. There's Canadian. It's been selling off against the dollar, which means it's making money. There's more Canadian dollars, more valuable dollars on the Canadian side. When this goes down, the Canadian is gaining and the dollar is losing. You see, we went into a weekly sell 2 weeks ago. I think it's 2 weeks ago. I think we just missed it, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So there's the sell right there. There's a lot of missed sells last week, or 2 weeks ago. Not last week, but 2 weeks ago. But the Dow Jones didn't miss. It went into the weekly buy. And by going into the weekly buy, it says that They are nibbling. They are truly nibbling. Remember, that's a divisor-based index, not a volume percentage-based index. All right, now you can see the Canadian's going that way, so we assume automatically that oil is up. We assume gold is firm, that type of thing, because the type of action we've been seeing there, that slope, you know. Now let's jump over to energy, right there, just to take a quick look and see, and then we'll go over to South African Rand. There it is. No, look at that. They've taken it down. It made highs, and it was up to 120.82 compared to Friday's 120.46. So it made new highs, oil, and now it's kind of flat or unchanged. We're still in the weekly buy, but they are putting pressure on it. You can see it there. You see how it looks over on J4X. Let's see. That's crude. There's Brent right there. You see Brent still lifting up in the 120s. It's 120.03. Remember the spot was like 30 cents wide or 50. I guess it was like 50 cents wide with Brent on Friday. Now it is, what is it now? Trading at 10, so it's almost $1. Dollar premium on Brent. And the deal with OPEC, they didn't kick Russia out, and so in the end result, we're seeing that they claim that they're going to put more oil into the market, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to have any effect, and they're not cutting Russia out. So if they're not cutting Russia out, then it should be sideways more than up. All right, from there we jump over to, where do we go? We go to, let's take a look at gold right there. Gold is trying to lift up this morning. It closed in a daily buy a few days ago, but it's still below it. And we went into the weekly sell on Friday. So there's not a lot of conviction or love there either. Let's see. Oh, never mind. All right. Let's see. Oil experts have commented on Twitter that more oil will not help. Yes, I've seen people say that. I know we have one refinery around here that's not closed. It only produces 50% of what its capabilities are. Problem is that you can't just go and hit a switch and make it work. It takes weeks and months to get going. So to up their inventory, or let's say production, that's going to take about 6 weeks. That means basically all of June and halfway through July. So that's maybe we'll start to see some relief that way. But you have to have oil, and Mr. Biden is making it tough to get oil. So, weird guy. Too weird. But that's what that problem is. If Arabs pump more, they will ship it to Lithuania. Huh. Interesting. Well, I think we're just going to... There's a lot of smart people around here that are convinced that we're going to see $6 a gallon gasoline. I figure that probably plays out somewhere in the middle of July. We're almost hitting $5 now on a national average. It's like $4.80 something on a national average. All right, from there we jump over to the South African Rand. Right there's South African Rand. There we are. There it is on J4X. So we see the pressure there, heading down, which makes me think that gold wants to go up. I really think we're going to see a better gold in 6 months. I really do. I really think it's going to be much stronger. I'm always surprised that it's not stronger, but then when you have the Federal Reserve working to knock it down all the time, it's not it doesn't really have a chance to breathe. It's like think of it as like a fine bottle of wine. You open it up and you got to let it breathe. You don't just grab it and start swigging away. And that's what I see there. Now you can see we've made another new low. We're going beyond this point. Now, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's take a look at the yen. See what the yen is up to. The yen. Yen was popping. Yeah, moving up, trying to take out some of these highs. Yeah. Now it looks a little unchanged there and more weakness than strength, but it's been an interesting little pop there since it went into the daily buy. Where'd it go into the daily buy? Right on, not that one, this one right there. So since there, it's been the daily buy. There it is. From there we go to Mexican peso. We'll see what that's up to. Right there. And there it is on J4X. Now, the Mexican peso looked like it was fighting, just fighting to get back into the range. And it went up and hit it and has rolled over again. There is a lot of opportunity over there, that's for sure. Being you can see it during this inflation scare, where the the way that they moved with the inflation going up really told us that how sensitive they are to the central banks and the control the central banks have over them. They were able to step out of their ranges, but the two, Canadian and Mexican peso, both here on North America, with the United States basically sandwiching them, or being the center of the sandwich, actually, how good that is, benefit-wise. Because they didn't really fall out of their ranges. They stayed pretty well. Matter of fact, in this case here, it's falling out of its range in a positive way, not a negative way. All right, from there, that does it with the currencies. If anybody wants to see a currency, just shout it out. We'll go back to it. Let's go over to the energies and we'll take a look at them again. There's oil back a little over 119. It got down to 118.19. It's up $1 off its lows. Ooh, what do we got here? Czech kroner. Let's check that out, the Czech kroner. Dollar Czech kroner right there. And let's put it up over here on J4X. Or on Chicago Quant. Dollar Swiss. Dollar. There it is right there. Yeah, it slid into the weekly sell last week right there on Friday. And daily is flirting around with it now. And we got a volatility index going, volatility hit. Red and green on that. So we'll see if that does something compared to the one that happened here. It was nothing. It didn't follow through at all. Kind of, went into the buy back in here on a weekly. And now it's finally just getting into the sell. Let's tighten that up a little bit more. So that's the action there. I am set to go there in 2 weeks. Okay. Well, look at it. It's kind of flatlined over the last 2 weeks, hasn't it? I don't know if you really need to reach up too much for it, but, grab a little now. Get some lunch money if nothing else. Yeah, I imagine, adjusting to to that. Notice it's trying to make a dip. Maybe look at the last time it went into the sell. It didn't last long. Went into the sell here, went down for about 10 days, went into a daily buy, and it was more every time it went into the sell. It was a very short play, and it went right back into the buy. It was like, wow. And look at that buy. Let's widen this out. Look at that buy there. Let me put that in. Let's see, right there. There you are. That was it wasn't the last buy, but so it went into the buy there with the weekly. Went into the weekly that week too. It was a nice run, but sometimes it goes sideways. That's what it's doing right now. And then we went into the sell here. The short term, since you have to own it, to spend money there, you might as well get a little involved. But in this way, if it goes down while you're there, you could get it even cheaper. Yeah, that would be the way to play it, especially since you're going to be there. Alrighty, now over on from there, I say, we were looking at metals, that's it. And so from there, no, we were looking at oils. So let's look at the back month. So the front month is basically 119 even. So let's go back and look at the October contract. That's trading a little bit higher. It's trading at what did I say it was 109 even. So it's almost $12 wide. Back months are not really lifting very well. It's been in a weekly buy since, I don't know, what is that, April? April 15th, yeah. I'll tell you, the stock market has been dead for hours. It's been sitting up, for hours in the 255, 270 area. All right, from the oil, we go look at nat gas. There's nat gas. You can see it went into the sell a couple days ago, still in that long weekly buy since all the way January. It's been in a weekly buy since January in the $4 area. And so we're flirting above $9 today. Silverado. Let's see what silver looks like. There's silver. Silver, it's trying to perk up. It didn't go into the buy on the weekly. I thought it was going to. It's trying to lift up. That does look like a pretty healthy bar. It's a lot of action in there, isn't it? I mean, it opened up around and the low is the 22s, and it got as high as 22.56. So they are stepping up a little bit there, just the way they are stepping up on the platinum and so forth. Yeah, let's see. Let's take a look at platinum real quick. See what they're up with that. I saw it up at 1,050 at one point last week. Oh no, it wasn't 50, but it was playing the high ends of the range. This thing, I heard, I was the guy that recommended silver said that there's very little silver in the world. For a precious metal, there just isn't that much inventory. That's why it traded at a premium for so many decades. And now that there's quantitative easing, they don't really care that much. They don't really trade it that much higher, All right, from there we'll take a look at copper. Interesting pop last week on the copper. You see here, that was one heck of a bar. They basically walked in and said, I think I need to own that. It's very rare to see mad panic like that on an intraday, but it happens. And that seems to be where we're at, too, at the moment. All right. That pretty much concludes our metals view. Let's take a look at the energies. Oh, we did the nat gas and so forth. That's right. We were looking at nat gas. That's right. I forgot about that. I want to take a look at European natural gas. It had broken the 28 and fallen down into the 27. So let's see what they're doing with it today. There it is right there. 28.29. Back over to 28 area again. With this whole situation in Central Europe, as I like to call it, the Central European War, with that going on, there's not much reason for oil to really lose any value at all. And that's probably the real bite, and that's what really hurts. Is that they're not able to stabilize this stuff, and it just gets worse and worse every week. That's why I guess they're thinking, the politicians, they must be thinking, well, the election's 5 months away, things will change, so forth and so on. Don't see it myself, but you know what? Luckily, they can't buy their way out of inflation. And they're trying, too, which is the weirdest thing, is you really can't. All right, from there, we jump over to, let's see, we did copper, we did silver, we did platinum. We've done natural gas, we've looked at Brent. Let's check out the stock indices. There's the Tech 100. It's also trying to lift up and catch that Thursday move. You can see we closed on the weekly buy there. Oh, no. You know what? We didn't close on a weekly buy. It's trying to close on a weekly buy this week. That's what it is. It missed it by an incredible small amount. And let's see what it looks like on Tech 100. Let's see, where are you? There you are. There's the Tech 100. A little red there this morning. You can see it'll clean up because we got it trying to get into the weekly buy, and it's in the daily buy for 6 full days going on a 7th day. So that little red will clean up on the Tech 100 probably in the next hour and a half, as long as it stays up in here. Again, I don't see anything really that energizing at the moment. It's just simple trading back and forth. I guess what happens normally during a summer month, what will happen is when you get into a comfort level where you think, oh, I can sell these tops and I can buy these bottoms. I remember one summer, it went like that for 7 moves. In other words, you could buy the lows, and once they turned and our math turned, you could buy it and sell it out at the tops, and literally do that. It was like 6, 7 times. And then, for some reason, I forget what it was exactly, it exploded. So in other words, you try selling the top or buying the bottom, whichever one it was. I don't remember which one it was, but it exploded through it. I mean, just, if it was the sell side, they crushed it so big, and vice versa. If we bought it, then it would be the same way that way. So it was very unique, extremely unique that way. Is that you could buy the range, sell the tops and buy the bottoms, and then boom, it ripped it up big time. So it is what it is. Trying to think what else we got going on there. Let's take a look at the Dow. We showed you the Dow. The Dow's been in a weekly buy for a couple of weeks. We showed you S&P. Let's take a look at the week index, the very weak of the U.S. stock indices, and that is the Russell 2000 right there. And that's been acting very well. And it's trying to get into a buy this week also, as you can see right there. this has come from 2,200 or 2,300. This like replaced our NASDAQ speculative. It was the 2,400s. I think it was actually 2,600, but it fell all the way down to 17. And when you're talking that big a move, 600 points, 500 points, in an index this small, that is like the crash of '87 in many ways. Except for in one day, it was played itself out over months. Since like actually it topped out with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin hit its all-time peak of like 69,000, almost 70,000, this topped out. And talk about, this index is the most speculative of our indices here in the States, the Russell 2000. So, at the time I mentioned it a few times, just to those that were paying attention to cryptos. But I didn't really think about it too hard. But it is a real warning, that the product can't, I'm talking about Bitcoin now again. I'm back to Bitcoin. That the Bitcoin can't find its own path. It has to gravitate towards everything else. That's the big surprise. And we'll see if we get into a weekly buy. I'd imagine we will. I guess that's it, traders. Unless anybody wants to see anything in particular, there's not much more to be said. U.S. market opens up in a little more than 3 minutes. I'm just saying out there, be careful, be safe, be smart. Don't take these big moves or these moves. Don't take them as if they're big. Don't interpret them as big. These are pretty average, normal moves. They just look bigger because the indices are much higher now. That's all. All right, traders, we'll catch you tomorrow on Tuesday. This is Doc from North America. Have a good day. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.